Hello, everyone. Rebecca Lowrey, producing director of MusicalWriters.com. And I'm here with Joey Contreras. He is our keynote speaker for this summer's Musical Writers Festival in Fort Worth, Texas, July 14th and 15th. And I wanted just to take some time to get to know Joey a little bit better and get you excited about this summer's festival. We still have plenty of time to register. There's an awesome special going on right now for a discount off of registration and a full year of Academy membership. So make sure you go to our website, musicalwriters.com, for all of that information. All right, Joey, I've got some questions for you just to kind of get us an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. And I know right now the show that you've been working on mainly is In Pieces. And can you tell me, like, what is the core message or theme that you're wanting to communicate through this musical? And why did you feel that it was like important to tell this story right now?
Sure. So, In Pieces is an anthology musical that covers a period of time in 6 different people's lives. And the show really explores love and life, but also coming of age stories and those pivotal relationships that we bring with us at every crossroad in our lives. So, I've been telling people that it's sort of like Heartstopper meets Rent.
Okay.
It's got the heartwarming queer love stories that Heartstopper has, but then it has, it's following a group of characters, and at times you feel like they are not necessarily connected, but they are all connected, and it's pretty sung through, but there's still a full narrative and book scenes and everything in it. So but yeah, the show for me, the reason why what was interesting about the show too, is that I have interpolated a lot of my older music, and then I've written new music for it. And so it's been an unconventional writing process.
Right.
But thematically, the message really is that, sometimes someone can be your soulmate, but that doesn't mean that you end up with them.
Yeah.
And I think there are a few characters that come to that conclusion, and then there are some stories that maybe you do end up with your soulmate. Maybe you do.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, I can't wait to see where it's grown and what its new format that it's in. And I'm really excited for you about that. One of the reasons that I was a champion for you to be our keynote speaker this year is that I love that you are so proactive with licensing and promoting your works. Can you elaborate more on that process and maybe what challenges that you've encountered along the way, or advice that you would give writers who were kind of on that similar path of just the do-it-yourself mentality?
The landscape has really changed since I first kind of stepped into the scene. And I've been doing this now for, goodness, 14, 15
Wow.
years, which is insane. Uh, but I've always been a bit of an internet musical theater writer, like
Right.
known from the internet,
Yeah.
with a lot of my fan base from the internet. And it's just been fascinating, though, how the internet has really, when I say the internet, that means when I was first coming out, my TikTok was YouTube.
Right.
So YouTube was the main vessel of getting my music out there. And now, there's so many other different platforms. Instagram was not a thing when I first
Yeah.
started putting my music out there. And so all of these different platforms have created new paths, new journeys, new content to build, new ways
Yeah.
to find your audience and all of those things. But because I already 15 years ago was someone who turned to the internet as a way to share my music, that has always been a part of me. Now I just have a lot. Now I just have a lot more to do. Now I just have to create a lot more different dimensions, different captions,
Yeah.
different. Um, but that's always been inside of me as far as that kind of that proactive go for it. What's interesting now too is that I think it's taken a while for the industry to take those what I'll call internet musical theater writers seriously.
Yeah.
When I first started out, um, there there were I had a fan base, and I had a fan base, but that didn't necessarily translate into
Work.
Broadway
Yeah. Yeah.
or certain opportunities. And so now I think that the industry is starting to pay attention more to what's happening everywhere,
Yeah.
as they should, and that's exciting. But at the same time, I've also been really sharing and letting people know uh, that Broadway isn't the only path, that
Right.
there are so many different paths for musical theater writers to have um, satisfying, successful, creative, lucrative careers. It just takes a lot of knowing the ins and the outs in the business and things like that.
Yeah.
So because I've always been a little bit on the fringe of certain rooms,
Yeah.
that has been, and I'm not someone who will like sit back and wait for a phone call. And
Yeah.
I like deadlines and I like being proactive and I like being in the studio. All of those things have what have gotten my career to move the ball rolling in
Awesome.
certain places. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool. We can't wait to hear more about all of that at the festival. Okay, I want to talk about your musical influences, because to say that you have a wide array of musical influences, I feel like is an understatement. You've mentioned Britney Spears, Janet Jackson, Harry Styles, Casey Musgraves. How did these influences manifest in your work? And do you listen to music for enjoyment, or are you listening to music for inspiration? Talk to us about your musical influences.
I try to keep listening to music for enjoyment because I don't want that to be taken away from me.
Yeah.
So I think that's another reason why I don't necessarily listen to a lot of musical theater, actually,
Okay.
because I feel like it actually puts me in my head as far as maybe in comparison or
Yeah.
anything like that. So yeah, a lot of my and I just have tried. I can only be authentic to what I've loved my whole life, which
Yeah.
has been a lot of pop music. But at the same time, I say that, but I also grew up listening to Into the Woods and
Yeah.
Rent and Sunday and
Yeah.
Last Night and all those shows. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, yeah.
Neat, neat, neat. Okay, I know you're always working on multiple projects and at different stages of development. How do you juggle it all? And how do you determine what takes priority on a given day? Or do you juggle it all?
You juggle it all somehow. And it right now, a lot of it is just being very uh, time management is important.
Yeah.
And putting things down in a calendar, making your lists, and then also knowing what your deadlines are. Every project has a different deadline and need, and then breaking those into other little like micro deadlines and stuff like that. So I love a list. I love a calendar. I love color coding it all. And then creatively, it is actually, while it is a little chaotic sometimes, or a lot of the times, it is nice to be able to jump from project to project
Yeah.
whenever I'm feeling not inspired by something.
Yeah. Not inspired or overwhelmed or both, right?
Yeah.
It's nice to have something else to focus on. At the Musical Writers Festival this summer, you're going to be connecting with writers from all over the world at different stages of their development journey, at different stages of the career. But there's going to be many new writers and students as well. What is one key piece of advice you would like to share with them? Maybe something that you wish you knew when you were starting out.
Be inspired by other people, but don't try to sound like other people.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of comparison in this industry, and so that's definitely something to try to strip away. And then what I tell everybody: sheet music. Sheet music is your
Yeah.
merch. Make sure you make your sheet music available.
Yes, 100%. And I mean, it's the only way that your music can exist outside of you. And I think that's hugely important. I preach all day long, piano, vocal score, piano, vocal score, piano, vocal score, because I want to be able to perform your songs, and I want other people to be able to perform your songs, and I want to be able to bring it to life. And I can't do that. And God forbid something happened to you and us not have access to your songs, right? So I totally agree with you on the sheet music. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to chat with us. For those of you who have not registered yet for the Musical Writers Festival, there's still time. There's a discount code all the way through June 15th. Registration's still open all the way till July 7th. We're going to be in Fort Worth, Texas. Yes, Texas, not New York, but Texas, July 14th and 15th. For the second Musical Writers Festival, we have Joey Contreras as our keynote speaker. We have Broadway's Major Attaway, the longest running genie, is going to be our special guest performer. And we have so many other top talents that are going to perform your music and perform your shows. And on top of that, with the networking and collaborating opportunities that you're going to have, we hope that you will enjoy us. Joey, thank you so much for spending time, and we'll see you in just over a month in Fort Worth.
Can't wait. Yay.